If you could share any stories about Andre the Giant.
Andre, yeah, what an incredible athlete, larger than life figure. He worked quite a few times for my dad. He would come in during the Stampede shows, and always a great draw. And what can you say about Andre? He was just an incredible performer. Who had great agility, knew how to wrestle. He wasn't just sort of a lumbering giant that got over because of his size. He had worked a lot in France and Europe, and then really learned how to wrestle in Japan. Long before he even came to North America. But he was a skilled athlete. Like for his size, he was incredibly gifted and could perform well in the ring, and not a guy that you took liberties with. But Andre could be temperamental at times. You just never knew what you're dealing with. He seemed to be more gentle and at ease with females. If especially if you're at a bar or a restaurant or a festive party or something. Andre was very uh, very much at ease, in a party-like atmosphere, and he would buy rounds and rounds of drinks and champagne, for everybody. In that sense, he was very generous. But other times, he could be very moody and standoffish. I think he's very self-conscious about being someone that was unique and not being looked at as a freak, or someone that was different from others. So at times he wasn't very approachable about making public appearances or signing autographs. He could be very distant in that sense. And I remember one story, and it was just to me kind of a unfortunate thing. He was wrestling at one of the first WWF shows here, I think in 1984. I think it was after Stampede had closed, and Andre had been working in the main event, I think, against Kamala. And, it was the end of the show, and I think he just wanted to get back to his hotel. There were, some fan had gotten his son, all the way into the back area of the dressing rooms. I don't know how he got through security, but he brought his son, into the waiting area there, close to where the dressing rooms were. And it asked me if I could get an autograph of Andre the Giant for his son, and I said, I don't know if I can or not, because I knew Andre could be pretty standoffish. And, if he was in a hurry just to get back to his hotel or get to the bar to join his friends, but I remember approaching Andre, said, there's a fan here, and he wanted to know if you would sign his autograph for his son. And Andre just kind of nodded like no, and walked right past the fan, and the guy saw that too. And I just felt kind of embarrassed. I thought, it wasn't like there was 50 people there, and if you had to sign one autograph, you'd have to sign them all. It was just one father there with his kid, who had waited and stuck around to the end of the show after all the fans had left. And Andre had even just stopped and signed it. It might have taken 10 seconds of his time, but that's the way he was. At times he could be very sociable, and if he had some friends around him, and he could be drinking beers or throwing wines back, and he could drink so much, it was incredible. He could drink a dozen beers in 30 minutes on a road trip, or half an hour into a plane taking off. There's Andre could just drink and drink, and I think he could be very merry and sociable at times, but at other times he could be pretty moody and standoffish, and not the easiest guy to negotiate with. So for my dad, it was hard to get Andre to appear at some of our functions, for the Stampede, like the grandstand show or the parade. He really didn't want to be a part of that. He just wanted time to himself, but he didn't realize those things, were helping us draw fans to the show, and get some PR and media attention. And Andre quite often would limit his availability for those things. So that was sometimes frustrating for my dad, and I think a lot of promoters that dealt with him. But You know, an incredible athlete and a great performer, no doubt.